Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how I made these cat cakes from Honkai Star Rail. Ranmei's creations, or as I prefer to call them, the cat cakes, don't really have any impact on the plot of Honkai Star Rail. They show up briefly in Ranmei's side quest and then are kind of never mentioned again afterwards. Granted, there's a whole minigame that's dedicated to making more of these little cats. But let's face it, as cute as they are useless. Not that that stopped me from making a diorama of them, however, although this was done more so to purge them from my mind. I started by making some discs out of aluminium foil. Polymer clay is expensive, and these cats already used a lot of it, so if I can keep the costs down, then that would be great. I start by mixing up the colours of clay that I want. Here I'm mixing up a dark red, because this cat's going to have a dark red base, I suppose? It's not clear what these cats are made out of. After rolling the clay out into a sheet, I use some bacon bond to glue it to the disc. I completely cover the foil in the clay. I then cut out an opening on one of the sides. This is where the future cat will be sitting. I close off the top and then roll out some little nuggets of clay. These two are glued on using bacon bond, and are used to make a sort of petal-like shape on top of the cat. I use some clay shaping tools to smooth out some of the seams and add details, and then everything gets a wash of isopropyl alcohol to help hide my fingerprints. Since there were 3 cats, I repeated this process 3 times. Once the bases were baked, I started the process of making the cats themselves. I cut a ball of clay in half, and then using more bacon bond, I squish it into the hole. I attached 2 little worms underneath to act as arms. Once blended into the body, I attached the tail the same way, making sure to blend that in too. A little bead of clay then gets squished on top of the cat. I'm not sure what the purpose of it is, but it's clearly decorative. Once again, this process is repeated 3 times, resulting in 3 little cute abominations. The base for this one was very simple. It's just pieces of foam glued together to look like a couch. Or vaguely like a couch, I suppose. This gets glued to a base made of the same foam and then primed black. Once primed, I realised that the edges were really ugly, so using some strips of cardboard, I covered up all the ugly parts. I then painted everything a purplish grey, or a greyish purple. Whatever works, I suppose. The couch gets a coat of a slightly more purple grey, and then after adding some details to the floor off camera, everything gets a black wash. And then everything gets a light grey dry brush, just to help age it a little bit. Then, using some aluminium foil, I fold it in on itself and then hot glue some fabric to it. I fold the corners of the fabric over itself, making sure to cover up all the foil. The result is 3 uncomfortable looking pillows, that are then glued down around the model. Each abomination then gets a wash of their respective colour on their bases. I still have no idea what these things are supposed to be. This also darkens the colours a little bit, but I don't mind. I then move on to painting. I first start with Sesame Cake, which out of all the 5-star designs is the only one that I like. The dark blue clay that I used for the cat body is far too dark, so I start by painting the eyeballs white, followed by the bandages. I follow this up with a very dark blue, almost black circle around the face. I assume this is to make Sesame Cake appear stressed, or at the very least very moody. Since I painted the eyeballs white, painting them yellow isn't too much of a hassle. The eyeballs don't get any highlights though. I then paint a strip of red along the bottom of the base. To finish off, I then paint on some leaf-like designs in gold. The following 2 designs don't actually exist in-game, they're designs I made up on the fly. The design of one of these cats should be familiar. This cat, who I'm dubbing Coffee Cake, gets some tiger spots on the sides. Her eyes are also painted white first, and then followed by a green. She gets some white face markings around her mouth, followed by the mouth itself, and then some black pupils. I finish off with some black markings on the face and tail, and then some highlights in the eyes. The last cat, who I am naming Cream Puff, is blessedly simple. He gets a coat of white over his body because the clay was slightly stained, and because his body is already white, we can go straight to the green eyes. This is followed by a small mouth, black pupils, and then some love hearts for highlights. With that, the cats are done, but I needed some opinions on how Coffee Cake and Cream Puff turned out. Thankfully, they were both available to give their opinions.
What do you think? Does nothing bring you joy?
Here, you seem to like what I make. Right.
Worthless opinions aside, I glue the cats down onto the base, and with that, it's finished. Thank you for watching. I know that it's been a while since my last upload, so I do thank you for your patience. Now that I've settled into my new place, I'm hoping that I'll be able to start working on my various projects again. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, have a good one.